We're here in Raleigh, North Carolina, looking at this constructed grassland designed to be a lawn alternative in this urban front yard. We've already installed a designed soil mix and sown seed of native plants as a foundation for our grassland. Now we're going to add plugs of plants that will provide targeted ecosystem services like stormwater remediation or weed control, as well as additional seasonal color. Using plugs allows us to have more control over the performance of the planting, and over time we will trim or remove any plants that come up from seed that interfere with the plants we planted as plugs. Starting with a few of the grasses, we planted prairie DROPSEED in the center of the grassland as a contrast and form to the other grasses and to help add a little more scaffolding to taller plants. Little Blue Stem is a favorite of mine because it's adaptable, comparatively well behaved, and adds just a hint of blue. Switchgrass is helpful to secure the back edges of the grassland where it'll provide consistent pressure against encroaching plants and mingle sustainably with competitive neighbors. Looking at the forbs, we used low, spreading plants along the street that can adapt to very hot, bright conditions and crowd out unwanted plants that flow in on stormwater. TICKSEED is a great addition to these spreading plants with its plucky, upright golden flowers that give this classical meadow vibe. And in the center of the grassland, we added lots of orange coneflower, which has that classic meadow feel too, with a long flower display and also pushes back against competitive grasses. Wild bergamot is perfectly capable of cohabitating with competitive grasses and holds its soft purple blooms high where everyone can see. Along the back edges of the grassland where the big competitive grasses are planted, we've added similarly competitive forbs like wrinkle-leaf goldenrod for a bright color contrast against waves of New York asters. Woods pink reminds me of mums on the porch in fall, and woods blue feels like the quintessential aster. Woods light blue fits its name and is good in the far back of the grassland where its brighter blooms are easier to see. White wood aster is used in areas that we anticipate being shady as the screening plants grow. Now, this aster will tolerate the sun now and reach its full potential in the eventual dappled shade. Our first step to planting is to loosely arrange plant species according to their microclimate preference. This is called blocking and is a great way to just get started and to get the creative juices flowing for fine planting, which is basically a live performance with lots of improvisation. We anticipated the seed mix adding quick bulk to the grassland, which will cut down airflow at the base of plants. Plugs were planted shallowly to keep the crown of the plant from getting too damp and having problems if we end up having a wet summer. Constructed grassland is a complicated technical feat of horticulture and landscape design. Not only do the plants you decide to use have to predictably adapt to the microclimates in which they're planted, but you also have to be able to anticipate changes to those plant communities over time. Choreographing that change over time takes imagination and observation, and sustaining the diversity in the grassland requires an approach to management that's responsive. It's responsive to the individual behaviors of plant communities and to the behavior of individual plants. Rather than prescriptive maintenance like mowing every weekend during the growing season, this grassland will be maintained by incrementally subtracting plants we don't want to allow for plants we do. Rather than build a grassland simply out of turf grass like our neighbors, this gardener is building a grassland that is diverse in species, in height, and in seasonal interest. And over time, this diversity will yield the diversity in insects and birds she yearns for.